Hey guys, Mike here. So just right off the bat, let me just say before I get in this video that obviously you probably heard the Fed. They spoke yesterday and of course kicked the can down the road, which like I said they would. But the good thing is obviously they did separate out the interest rate hikes, which we had talked about, versus the asset purchases of the bonds and the mortgage-backed securities. So it looks like they will begin tapering on the asset purchases, maybe even as soon as this year. We'll have to see on that, but then the interest rates will definitely most likely be going into next year. They said we got a lot more work to do, and as my video probably 2 or 3 days ago showed you, back in 2018, I think that's what happened, was they tried to raise interest rates like 1.5% over time, and it just wrecked the market from 2018 to mid 2019. I think it was, what do we count on that video, like at least 5% or more sell-offs, and then like 2 major corrections. So yeah, I think that was not good. So they definitely need to hold off on that. So it's good to hear market's going up, the party continuing. I was gonna do a whole video on that, and I'm like, why bother? So party like it's 1999 or whatever the saying is in the stock market. So we'll see how this continues going forward. Next meeting's obviously next month, and I put a link in yesterday's video to all the Fed meetings, so I would definitely put that in your calendar if I were you. I know they're in mine, so you have a heads up on that. So what I really want to talk about though today is finally here's Rivian announcing, kind of like filing secretly for their IPO. So now we know they will be coming to the market in a traditional IPO, not a SPAC or a direct listing. And so we're going to go over, because if you don't know who Rivian is, I've done a couple of videos on them in the past. And so, it's an exciting company, but I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and this ridiculous valuation that's coming out. I've seen 2 different numbers now, and both of them are completely ridiculous. And we'll kind of talk about that and explain why. But you definitely need to know this company if you're into EV stocks and things like that. And so, let's not waste any more time. Let's just get into it. And so here's their main vehicle. They have a truck, actually 2 trucks coming out, and an SUV. But one thing about theirs is it's all about off-roading. I'm talking about in all kinds of different terrains. They've done the cold weather training. They've signed up with popular people who are mountain hiking to try to test the truck out. They've done the desert, those long desert truck races as well, which of course the truck didn't even finish that race, but they wanted to test it out anyway. You can just look at right here with all the compartments, and what are they putting in there? They're putting in gear and a cooler, and I like the roof is cool, but it's really about for the outdoorsman. And so it's really important to understand about this company. Now understand, 2 huge investors, right? Amazon, major investor in this company, right? Already ordered, kind of ordered 100,000 vans to be delivered by 2030. So that was spread out. Some of those vans are already on the road, by the way. So that's a big backer. It's a big plus. 2, Ford. Ford invested, I know they invested $500 million. I'm not sure how much more they put in. And originally they were going to use the skateboard chassis or platform that they build the truck on for another vehicle they were coming out with. This is Ford I'm talking about. But they scrapped that. I'm not too sure if they're using it for their Ford F-150, but understand, it's kind of funny they're investing in this company because they're a direct competitor, right? They have the electric Ford F-150. For those who don't know, the Ford F-150 is by far the best-selling truck, has been for years in the United States, okay? And so that's something to keep in mind. Plus, they're coming out with their own delivery van as well. And so they are a direct competitor, but also an investor. And this will also give a chance for Jeff Bezos to get even richer, because Amazon has put a lot of money into this company, and Amazon will be spending a lot of money with this company. I'm not sure what the deal is worked out on, how much they're charging for the vans versus how much they're making. Are they getting a discount, which obviously will decrease the margins, that kind of stuff I'm not sure of. But that's 2 things to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind, we're going to go ahead and just knock out right off the bat, is they have 1 plant. It's in Illinois. They have offices, in Michigan. They have offices in California, UK, and they're also going to be working on or thinking about building out a second plant. It's like 10,000 acres, I believe it is. It's going to cost around $10 billion out in Arizona. They're talking to the governor out there in Arizona right now. So it looks like they've had to build that from scratch to do so. And so, things to keep in mind from there. So this is, they have 7,000 employees. So, it's an exciting company to look at, but you're looking at, 3 model vehicles, no cars at all. So 2 trucks, 1 SUV that I'm aware of. and obviously one plant to try to build everything, working on a second plant, which that would take quite a while to get that built up and ready to go. But obviously having the orders from Amazon, having some of those vans on the road already, so they're not, I guess you can say, pre-revenue, but understand they've already pushed back the delivery of their trucks twice now. I believe it's supposed to happen in September now, this month coming up, but they've pushed it back. And so some important things to understand about that is, one, that a lot of the executives and engineers for this company, they come from Tesla. Matter of fact, there's so many of them that came from Tesla that Tesla actually sued Rivian, and as far as I know, that is still going on, as you can see right here. Tesla sues Rivian over allegedly stealing trade secrets back in 2020, and then the latest I could find was March 2021. Tesla gets a green light to move forward with the lawsuit. And so I definitely think that, that is something to keep in mind going forward to see how that plays out. Again, I'm not a lawyer or a judge, so if you have any information on that, please put it in the bottom. Now, the other thing is this ridiculous valuation that's floating around out here. They're saying between 70 and 80 billion dollars valuation, as you can see right here. This is a report by Bloomberg. And they've selected Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley as the underwriters. And understand that valuation, that would make them more valuable than Ford and GM. Okay, GM has a $72 billion market cap, Ford $52 billion. And also just keep that in mind, Coinbase, for example, just because that was a recent IPO. Theirs, by the end of the day, when the IPO, I think it was worth $86 billion, so they closed out at $325 a share. Obviously, it depends on how many shares they issue and things like that. But, so it's going to be way more expensive than coming, via a SPAC like Lucid Motors did, or even a direct IPO like, say, a Palantir did. So it's going to be, this is going to be an expensive IPO, it looks like, to say the least. And so it makes no sense. I hope they don't do this, but it wouldn't surprise me a bit. They always, over price these. Because, you see where all these IPOs that get priced, these crazy prices, they drop like a rock anyway. And so, you just sit around and wait. But we'll see. We'll see what number they come up with. But I will say this. One thing about Rivian, they're doing, and a lot of people don't understand this about the EV market in the United States, right? I've said this many times. I think I'm the only one that's ever talked about this. And I'll continue to talk about it. Is, Rivian is getting ahead of the game on the lobbying, right? They've already won in Colorado, which would be a huge state for them because, outdoorsy type truck, and that's what Colorado's all about. So, they've already won there, and they're allowed to direct sell to customers there, from my understanding. They also have joined the lobbying group with, right here, as you can see, Tesla, Uber, and 26 others. There's ChargePoint and everything to form their own lobbying group. And so, that is huge, and understand why that is so big. For those who still don't know, they're trying to fight dealership laws, right? All these laws are put in by each individual state to protect the dealerships, Ford, GM, Toyota, all those types of old-timey dealerships. Well, obviously these companies like Tesla and stuff, they want to direct to sell to consumer, right? Well, that goes against the dealership laws. And so they're trying to fight that. Tesla's already done it. But what Tesla did was Tesla got grandfathered in, right, to a lot of states. There's still states they can't do it in, still to this day. But they're fighting, right? So they have to fight at the state level, the federal level. But Rivian got ahead of this a couple of years ago and already started doing this. And so that's going to help them out. But as far as I know, they still can't sell direct to consumer in Michigan, for example, which would be a big, probably a good place for them to be. Also, and there's plenty of other states they can't. But having this lobbying group, I think it's going to push it forward, which is a good thing because they have to fight on the state and the federal level. And so that's a big thing. But, the valuation is ridiculous. I'm excited. I've been excited for this company to come forward. I was hoping it was going to be via SPAC or direct listing or something because it would be cheaper for us to get in. But it looks like it's, going to start out between, $200 to $350 somewhere in that range. We'll see. But if that's the underwriters they chose, you can guarantee it's going to be a high valuation. And again, it is good. Yes, I understand, 100,000 orders from Amazon supposedly. I believe that when I see the writing and the contract. Through 2030, so that is spread out over the next 9 years. Understand that, and only having the one plant. I'm just kind of hoping we've all learned something. I know I have, coming from last year, this year with all the exciting EV makers. Workhorse and Nikola and Ride or Lordstown Motors, you might know it. Coming in with a Lucid and all these these big hyped up things that understand. they'll be obviously the biggest IPO. Everybody else came a SPAC or was already on the market or something. They're the ones coming with a traditional IPO. The first ones I can think of since Tesla, isn't it? Maybe, I don't know. I'm probably missing somebody. But, you know, everybody else seems to have come via a SPAC or Workhorse was already there. They were a penny stock for God's sakes, and then just blew up because of the contract. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But I want to at least bring this out there, bring some facts. I'll put some videos at the end that goes into even more detail about there. But, you know, to recap, 1, how's the lawsuit going to work out with Tesla? 2, are they actually going to open this other plant in Arizona? You know, 3, are they going to be able to deliver these vehicles? Are they going to push it back again? Because the Tesla executives, supposedly everything I read, have been telling them, take their time, do not rush like Tesla did back in the day. They had to do a bunch of recalls, cars catching on fire, that kind of stuff. Just take your time with it. All right. But the other thing to look at too is, you know, their vehicles aren't for the masses, right? I mean, it's a very particular customer they're aiming at here. And so, you know, I don't think you're going to see any of these driving around New York City or LA or Miami, that kind of thing. I mean, it seems to be, you know, this is the outdoors person is what the trucks ran for. I'm not sure what the SUV. And so that kind of shrinks your clientele. Plus, these are going to be starting around $75,000, so they aren't cheap, you know. And competing directly with the Ford F-150, you know, not an easy task. But then again, people say, well, maybe they're not competing directly. People don't buy the Ford F-150 to go camping. Maybe that's true. I know I've been to campsites and I've seen Ford F-150s, but I could be wrong. And so, you know, that's stuff to keep in mind. But, you know, understand, I wouldn't feel the need to rush into this when IPOs. We've got a ways to go, but they're looking around November, I think it is, the IPO. But there'll be more news come out. We'll start to know the valuation, but just, you know, stay patient. I at least wanted you to know this, though, that came out this morning, or excuse me, yesterday morning. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys probably Monday. So have a good one.